And there we are. Okay. I had to look. I'm like, okay, are we live? What's going on here? Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys have had a good day. It is obviously Friday. We're going to be talking about is the U.S. in big financial trouble, right? We're going to talk about that and share some thoughts. I want to hear what you guys have to say, what you guys think. And hey, Philip, how are you? Good evening, good day from the land down under. I come from a land down under. Sorry, I had to do it. Men at work. I'm sure you know that. So anyway, um, like I said, I hope everybody's had a good day. Weekend starts. We've been busy here at the homestead already, and I'm going to share a couple thoughts with that. We're going to get into all that, but then we're going to get into the topic as well. So anyway, before we jump into anything, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. Um, no racism, no nastiness, and we'll have a good stream. If you cannot do that, then those awesome moderators that you see lit up in blue will boot you out of here. So because we're not going to have it, it's not going to have it. We want to have a good chat, have a good time, and kind of go from there. So, all right. So I gotta address a couple things, and it's not. I'm sweating here, guys. So I got the fans blowing on me because I am quite warm still. We were out. Well, actually, I just ate too, so that might have something to do with it. But if you watch the video that I posted earlier today, nope, not rant time. Nope, no ranting. Just observation and saying from my perspective. So we planted 10 trees today. We did 2 fig trees, we did 4 peach trees, and we did 4 apple trees. Varieties of different ones of each. Okay, and Buzz, the guy that brought the trees, works for a nursery, and we ended up actually we have 8 blueberry bushes as well that we need to get planted, which we will do that as well. But that's gonna tomorrow's priority is the pavilion, so that's kind of what we're doing there. But anyway, and I was looking at the comments and stuff like that, and people were like, "Oh yeah, peach trees they won't do well there, blah blah blah, whatever." And everybody has the right to their opinion, and that's fine. But I will tell you this, okay? When I lived in Greece, New York, which was literally we were 3, 4, maybe 5 miles from the lake itself, from Lake Ontario, so as pretty northern as you can get, in New York State. Because like Rochester's right there, and then we're right there. I had a peach tree up there, and every year off of that peach tree, I would get 30 to 40 peaches every single year off that tree, every year. So when people say, "Oh yeah, peach trees aren't going to work there," um, you know, maybe because of the elevation, maybe that's what they were thinking. What my elevation is, we're going to take a chance. We're going to see what happens. We'll see, who's right, who's wrong, and it's not a it's again, it's not a matter of trying to be right or wrong. Okay, so somebody was making comments about the fig trees. Okay, and so somebody else in the comments replied to them and said, "I have a buddy who lives in Pennsylvania on the New York border that has fig trees and they do just fine." So and that's much further north, obviously. People are going to have their opinions. That's what they're going to do. We're going to grow these trees. We're going to see what they produce. And this is just a start, guys. This is not, we're not planting 10 trees and go, yeah, okay, we're done with trees. No, we're going to have a whole bunch of trees. So, if we have some failures, we'll probably have more successes than failures. And my thing is we're just going to do what we're going to do. We're going to grow them. We're going to get them planted, see how they do. Having them over in the area where the bees are is going to be better for the bees, for the trees anyway. It's going to help with cross pollination and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So I learned the hard way. I need to cross pollinators. Yeah, and that's like, well, the one apple tree that we got is like a golden, and Buzz was saying that particular tree itself is that I add fruit trees every year or two. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So he said that one is a big blossomer, does a lot of blossoming. So the bees will hit that tree, and then they'll go to the other trees, and there's your cross pollination right there. You know what I mean? So um, it's going to be what it's going to be. They're going to do what they're going to do. We're going to have more trees planted, and as we continue on with this journey, this was to me an important step in our journey of trying to be putting ourselves eventually, it's not going to happen overnight, which I've said that many times, to eventually being self-sustaining, and that's the goal. That's the goal, is to be as self-sufficient as we possibly can be, getting as much squared away as we possibly can, and just going from there. And that's what you got to do. I mean, you make those baby steps. Planting ten fruit trees today is a big step in the right direction. One of the trees that we planted was a McIntosh. I really enjoy McIntosh, so we'll add other varieties of trees as well. So it's a process like anything else. And supposedly we're going to have a tomato shortage. Okay. Well, hopefully we have. Well, Buzz did bring more tomato plants as well. We probably lost two of the ones that we planted early, and that happens. Uh, you know, uh, but we're going to be planting more of those as well. So you're going to see everything, as we do it. We're going to have a busy weekend here, and so I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, today was it was a lot. Putting in trees, a lot of work. A lot of work. It really was. So, but really happy with what we got done, and so we'll go from there. We have 9 fruit trees planted and dwarf trees in pots. Yep, nothing wrong with that. Like I said, anything that you're doing, folks, to put yourself in a situation to be as self-sufficient as you possibly can be. All right. So let's look at reality. Are we getting any fruit this year? No, none. We're not going to get any fruit this year. Next year we may get a couple. Okay, because again, as I talked about in the video, and I'll just share this with you as well. When I got my trees in New York, I got saplings, and it took years to get them to the point where like what these trees are. So if you're going to get trees, spend the extra money, get the bigger trees, 3.5, 4 foot, maybe 5 foot tall trees. You're going to get fruit a lot faster. So next year we should get some. The year after that would be the year we're probably going to get a decent amount of fruit off of the trees. So again, we're just going to do what we're going to do. We're going to take care of what we can. We're going to add more fruit trees month by month. And as time goes on, we already have, a bunch of other things here, perennials growing up. And hey, I do think the pavilion will be completed this weekend. What the game plan is this weekend, the pavilion's going to still take some more time to get done because we got to put the floor in, get the walls up, get the wood stove in there. The goal for this weekend is to get the rest of the roof rafters up and to get the metal on the roof. If we get that done, I will call that 100% success. Because I don't know there's rain in the forecast for tomorrow, but it's not going to make any difference. We're still going to do what we're going to do. So that's where we're at with all of that, and so it is it's to me it's exciting no matter what. We're gonna, like I said, we're going to get things squared away. We're going to get things done, and you know yeah, getting the roof on would be the max to be expected this weekend. Absolutely. Yeah, if we get the roof on, that and then next month, realistically, we get. So let's say we get the roof completed this weekend, right? The roof is done and knocked out. Next month, we would be looking at getting the floor in. It's going to be a whole lot easier getting that floor in than it is trying to put a roof on. So a lot less work as far as you're not climbing and doing all that type of stuff, and you know, and go from there. But it's just like I said, it's a process. It is a process. So whatever we do get done this weekend, it's going to be more than we had done before. We have right now, there's 6 trusses already built, ready to go. Those will be going up right away. We're going to continue on doing what we're doing, and we're just, like I said, we're just going to go from there, and it'll come together. It will come together. So, that is a good thing. But all right, so no, I wasn't, going to go on any rant and say, oh, well, people said this, that, and I'm, say that they're wrong. People come from a different perspective, so I definitely, people have the right to think what they want to think. Um, I have had a habit in the years that I've been doing this. When people tell me that something's not going to work or it can't be done, lo and behold, it does work and it does get done. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah, yeah, I could not put an orange tree unless I had a greenhouse that we were heating. Then you could put an orange tree and stuff like that in there. So, but all right. So what are we at here? We're 241 in the chat. We're 103 on the thumbs up, guys. That's less than half. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. And I thank you ahead of time for that. I really do appreciate it. It also makes a huge difference with the algorithms. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. All right. So, U.S., is she in financial trouble? You look at what is being done with BRICS, okay, and you have, countries lining up or aligning together. You're looking at Russia, China. You're also looking at North Korea, Iran, South Africa, and they're trying to reel in. I think they're trying to get like Brazil on board as well. So, but there's quite a few countries that are going to go off the gold standard, or not the gold standard. I'm sorry, off the petrodollar, American dollar, and go on the yuan, which is the Chinese currency. And so, when that happens, it will devalue the dollar big time, which will cause hyperinflation. All right, we, in my opinion, strictly my opinion, I think we're in big trouble. We're in huge debt. We're beholden to China. I mean, you look at import export. We import way more than we export to China. So, a lot of our stuff that we get, I mean, look around your house, folks. I mean, look at your different things, any products that you have in your house. A lot of them, right on the bottom of them or wherever, are going to say made in China. That's where a lot of it comes from. And so, you just have to realize also, when you have we're huge debt that we're in. And then right now they got the whole fight going on, and so okay, talk about a colossal waste of time, right? So you just had Congress come through. What did they just pass? They just passed something. An immigration bill. Congress just passed an immigration bill, knowing full well it will never pass in the Senate. And even if it did pass in the Senate, Joe Biden has already said he will veto it. Already said it. So to me, it's just it's a huge, colossal waste of time. It's what these guys are doing. They're wasting your time. They're wasting my time. They're not taking care of the things that they need to take care of, that most Americans are more concerned about. Most Americans, what they're concerned about is being able to have affordable gas to be able to drive their vehicles to and from work. Most Americans are more concerned about being able to heat their homes, be it with natural gas, wood, or, they're trying to get everybody on electric. And the reality is, I mean, let's be 100% honest. The country is not ready, infrastructurally wise, to handle a huge increase of electric use. They're not. They can't handle it now. You look in California when they were basically telling people, minimize your usage between, this time and this time. They have smart meters in a lot of people's homes now, so they can automatically lower your temperature or raise your temperature. Like if you have your air conditioning on, good example. You got your air conditioning on. It's a hot day. You're hot. You're sweaty. You're like, okay, I'm going to put my air conditioner at 68 degrees because I want to be comfortable and I want to be cool, right? Well, a power company who has a smart meter in your house says, no, we're not doing that. We're going to put you up to 72 or 73 or 75, and you can't adjust it. Now, think about that. You're paying for that bill, and they're going to dictate to you what level you have that you can utilize that temperature gauge at. I mean, think of that's scary, guys. That's scary, okay? But they're doing it. They're doing a lot of that because the grid is overloaded, and when it's too hot, and there's a lot of usage of power, the power's not there. Our grid is not ready to deal with it, and now they want everybody to go to electric cars. And so, explain to me how, when they tell you to limit your usage between, 4 and 9 o'clock at night, well, when you get home from work, and if you have an electric car, wouldn't that be the time that you would plug in your electric car? You're not going to stay up to 11 o'clock at night and then plug in your electric car. A lot of people have to go to bed early because they got to be up early, because then they're fighting this ridiculous commute. Let's say you're in California, right? Ridiculous commute to work that's going to take you forever and a day. It's not realistic with what they're trying to do. It's just not realistic. Like New York State, again, with all new construction, uh, you know, no wood stoves, no gas heat. You have to. It has to be electric. And so it's not realistic, and they're going to have all kinds of problems. And as they continue to build more and more of these new houses and expect them to be all electric, I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with this. Now, I have. As a child, I remember this. Okay, and this is as a child when things were cheaper. They ain't cheaper now. All right. I remember we had a house that had electric baseboard heat. Electric baseboard heat. It was so expensive, and I remember, my parents at the time saying, we got to keep this down at a certain level because this costs way too much money. Do you think that's getting any better? And now they want to have everything be electric. It's not doable. It just really isn't doable. And when you have, I just saw an article the other day, and they were talking about who's polluting the oceans, right? Who's polluting the oceans? And they were showing which countries, a lot of Asian countries, are the biggest polluters of the ocean. It's not us. It's not us. You know what I mean? Um, when you have these electric cars, and to replace the batteries when the battery dies, what are you going to do? You can't afford that. It's like ridiculously expensive. So it's just that whole system of what their utopia plan is. It's just not doable. It's just not doable. It really isn't. And again, is they implement more and more of these laws telling you what you have to do. It's a matter of time, folks. It's a matter of time. And at some point, yeah, China and India mostly. Don Hill says, yeah. I think, what did they say? There was actually another country, more of a third world type of country, that polluted even more. I know China and India dump a lot in the oceans. They dump a lot, because they have so many more people, But there was another country that, like, they dumped a ridiculous amounts of stuff. Um, you know, Miss T said, "Can you do citrus in your area?" If I have a greenhouse built, Miss T, that I can keep warm in the wintertime and keep it warmer, I could definitely do citrus, but they would need to be inside the greenhouse. So, yeah, your car needs a new battery. It will be 15K. Exactly. I mean, who can afford that? I mean, realistically, who can afford that? On top of what you are paying for the electric car in the first place. So, for example, if a kilowatt is $1 now, and when we go full electric, everything kilowatt will be 10 per kilowatt. Yeah, it's like I said again, it doesn't make any sense. The average American's got way bigger fish to fry than the games that are played in Washington and stuff like that. They're worried about feeding their families. I was talking, well, like Buzz as an example. Okay, I was talking to Buzz. He works at a nursery, and his boss has like a whole bunch of these greenhouses, and they grow all kinds of stuff. Well, he's run out of everything. So people, I think, are realizing. I think a lot of people are realizing a lot more than people realize. I think, just a perspective that things are bad, and that they need to start trying to grow their own stuff. And I think that that's a great thing. I think we need to be more independent, growing our own food when we can, and doing those type of things. I think that that's really, really important. And you know, but it's just and a lot of people are growing. A lot of people are getting going with that, which again, like I said, I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And hopefully more people will continue to do so. But this country's in big, big trouble. Big, big trouble. Yeah, the Amish have it all figured out. Yep, they sure do. I mean, their system isn't perfect either. It's not perfect. I don't think anybody's system is ever going to be perfect. But when you're watching the train is on fire and it's rolling downhill, and you're trying to put it out with a fire extinguisher, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay, so, but you have to look at the situation that we're all in. People are not doing a lot of discretionary spending. They're just not doing it. There is no extra to go for extra stuff, and that's a fact. Oh, Old Mutt's in the chat. First of all, Old Mutt, let me just say thank you very much, and you know why. Very, very much appreciated, my friend. So thank you very, very much, and just want to put that out there. I will be calling you at some point, probably not this weekend because we're going to be a little busy, but. Sharon said, Ed, I bought $60 worth of different herbs to plant in my garden. That's a good thing. That is a very, very good thing. Yep. The more that you can put, excuse me, the more that you can put yourself in a situation where you can be as independent as possible is a good thing. The more you grow your own food is a good thing, because then you know where it's coming from. No, you're fine. You're fine. You know where it's coming from. You know where there's if there's no pesticides, if you're not using pesticides, then you know what I mean. So that makes a big, big difference. It really, really, truly does. So those are things to think about. If you can have chickens, right? Anybody out there that has chickens knows that there's a huge difference between store-bought eggs and fresh eggs. A huge, huge difference. And so, that's what people need to think about as well. It is definitely, it's a huge difference. So if you're, raising your animals, again, same with tomatoes. Oh, absolutely. Store-bought tomatoes and tomatoes that you grow yourself, the difference in taste is unbelievable. So yeah, store-bought eggs, they have no taste. Isn't that weird how that works? But I honestly, I think that if you give an animal a good life, and they have, they can, you know, they know that they're taken care of. It's just like, and it sounds kind of silly, but it's just like the bees. The bees know that I'm not there to hurt them, that I'm there to help them, and I think they realize that because they're not stupid. They're very organized. It's amazing to watch them. And so with getting the fruit trees in doing all that aspect of it, that's again that relationship between the pollinators and the trees that need pollinating. That it's going to be better yields, bigger yields. Ed, we are trying to experiment with lettuce indoors in big pots near our sliding glass doors. Oh, that's cool. Nope, nothing wrong with that. See again. That's and so. What did she just say, folks? She said the key word. She said the key word. She's experimenting. Why? Why is that the key word? The reason that that is the key word right now, right at this moment, if Sharon's lettuce succeeds, then great. Now she knows it works. If it doesn't succeed, no big deal, right? It's an experiment. You're trying. But if it is a true SHTF situation and she's never tried it and never experimented with it, and she says, well, this is what we're going to do to feed us, and then it doesn't work, that can be life and death. And I'm being a little over dramatic with that, but the more the more that you the more that you figure stuff out, figure out what works, what doesn't work, that makes all the difference in the world. The time to have that learning curve is now, because right now it's not life and death. At some point in our near future, my friends, I truly believe that it will be life and death. And when we're at that point, hopefully you have been experimenting, figuring out what works, finding out what plants grow better together, which ones don't, and all those type of things. So I think that that's hugely important. You better figure it out and better figure it out now. Um, you know, and so you buy or adopt a pet, it's a forever commitment. Oh yeah, animals. It amazes me that this is a good point. It amazes me how many people get the cute little puppy at Christmas, and 6 months or a year later, when the dog is now grown, they're dropping it off and getting rid of it because they don't want the responsibility. They don't want to deal with it. Like Hellas, she'll be 3 this year. Caesar and Pandora just turned 5. So, they're part of what we have. Our cats, we've had our cats for a long time, and giving them a good life, and I think that that's important. So, but I want to go back to, well, what are we at? We at 311 in the chat. We're at 158 on the thumbs up. So again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel once again, and thank you ahead of time. It really, truly does make a huge, huge difference with the algorithms. So the more interaction we have, the better. All right. So thank you for that as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. All right. So let's get back into this financially. They're trying to raise the debt limit once again. At some point, there's not enough taxes being brought in to pay the debt. And I think we're pretty close to that if we're not already over that. So, you can't just keep printing money and expect that everything's going to be just fine. Oh, they're going to raise it. Oh, absolutely, Don. They'll raise the debt limit. Right now, they're playing games. That's what they do. The Democrats will give into some concessions to the Republicans. The Republicans will give into concessions to the Democrats, and they'll all come on board and they'll say, "Oh, see, here we are. We're working together." But the real reality is, they're all on the same team. They're all on the same team, folks. And you know what team that is? It's Team Big Business and My Rich Friends. That's what team politicians are on. That's the reality. Okay. So, when we sit here and we're struggling day to day trying to figure stuff out, and then you have these banks fail, and then they get bailed out once again because they made poor decisions. How many of you out there that have made some poor decisions in your life, myself included, did we get a bailout? Did somebody come in and financially go, "Hey, listen, I realize you screwed up big time. You made a huge mistake. Here's $100,000 and you just start over again. Everything is clean slate." Not one of us gets that. No, none of us get that, right? But the big businesses, they sure do all the time, and they get all the tax breaks. When you have these businesses go into whatever city and they get a tax break for 10 years, 12 years, whatever the case may be, if they build their plant or if they build their business tower in that city, They get this huge tax break for years, and then the city will justify it. They'll justify it by saying, well, they're bringing in XYZ number of workers that's going to help boost the economy. Well, why don't we get that? Why don't listen? I'm going to move into this house, and I really like this house, but I don't feel like paying taxes on it for the next 10 or 12 years. So I'll move here and I'll spend my money in the area, but I don't want you to charge me any taxes for the next 10 years. You think they're going to do that for you and me? They're never doing that for you and me. So it's a rigged game. It's always been a rigged game, and now we have a situation where we're in trouble. We're in trouble financially, and people need to realize that. And I think a lot of people are beginning to realize that. Yeah, they get the gold mine, we get the shaft. That's about it, too. You know, and every year what they're doing, it was funny. Like, and I'll even use what happened in New York. They were like, oh well, we're lower in taxes, right? We're lower in taxes, and then but what did they do? They went around and raised everybody's assessment. They doubled my assessment on my property in New York last year. Doubled the assessment. So what does that mean? That means I don't pay less in taxes. I pay more in taxes. And so if Heather ever decides and Becky ever decides they want to get out of there, I'll sell that property up there in a heartbeat, and and that'll be the end of that. But as long as she wants to stay there, and then she can. So, oh my God, they've been doing that here too at Democrat-run states. Yeah, and they wonder why, Dawn. They wonder why people leave, right? Look at California, guys. Look at New York. We'll just use those two states. We'll just use those two states. A mass exodus of people. Anybody that's got two nickels to rub together is getting out of those states because it's unaffordable. When you have the people, like you look at, what did they say? The California, and don't quote me on this because I don't know if I'm right. I want to make sure that if I say something that I'm telling you the right answer. But I think they said like 50% of all the homeless people in the country, I think it's 50%, are in California. So the majority of homeless people live in California. Why is that? Because they get all the freaking handouts and they get everything handed to them, and they can, defecate in the street and all that type of stuff. It's insanity. It's insanity. I bet in reality we're paying over 75% in taxes. Every business has to pass it down with increased prices. Oh, absolutely they do. Yep. Yeah, that's why you build most of your buildings underground to avoid taxes. Yep. So I left New York for Texas 5 years ago. Best decision I ever made. Yeah, people say, well, why did you leave New York? Why didn't I leave? I wish I had done it years earlier. I wish I could have done it years earlier. I wanted to do it when the kid's mother and I were still together and the kids were young. I said, let's get out of here. Let's get out of this state. Go anywhere. We could have gone anywhere, and it would have been better. It just continues to get worse and worse and worse. My husband and I are looking for property in West Virginia. I'll tell you what, people want to talk all kinds of crap about West Virginia and the drug addicts and the meth heads and all this type of stuff. You're going to find that everywhere, anywhere you go. Anywhere you go, guys. I don't care where you are. There's drugs everywhere. Any small town, any big town, any moderate city, whatever. There's drugs wherever you're going to go. West Virginia is a beautiful, beautiful state. The taxes are fantastic down here. And again, you have to make sure you're in a good county. There's certain counties that you probably don't want to be in because they got higher taxes. But that's a choice that you're going to have to look at. I would highly recommend anybody, coming to New York. Highly recommend it. The only problem is a lot of times, okay, and we'll be honest, when people leave New York or people leave California, they take their voting habits with them and do the same exact thing in the new state that they've gone into. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Do you realize, like I said, by the time you get your money, how many times it's been taxed? It's ridiculous how many times it's been taxed. So the idea is to get a large property and then build in the middle. Exactly. There's no druggies here in St. Louis. They made them illegal. Oh my God, that's funny. That is funny. I like that. That's actually very, very humorous. But anyway, you just have to go and talk to everyday American people and see how badly people are struggling and how bad it is financially for them. And that will give you a really good idea of, is there extra money? Is the economy booming as we're being told? Are things getting better as we're being told? You know, hey Ed, did you see the Virginia decision about gun sales? I did not, Dawn. I did not see that. I know there's a lot of things going on, in those type of things, and a lot of state again, uh, they lowered the age to 18. Oh, okay, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Like I said, and I've said it, guys. If you're old enough to fight and die for your country, you should be old enough to be able to smoke a cigarette, buy cigarettes, get a drink, being able to buy alcohol. And if you want to buy a gun, they're giving you one in the military too, so you should be allowed to be able to purchase one. I think there needs to be, and this is just strictly my opinion, if you are in the military, there should be an exemption, a clause that says, all right, you have your military ID. That's what you got. You got your military ID. And if you are 19, 20 years old and you want to go in and buy a 6-pack of beer or go buy a pack of cigarettes, you should absolutely be able to do so. Because again, if you're old enough to fight and die for your country, but you're not old enough to be able to purchase a gun, but they're giving you a gun to use, right? Um, and you're not allowed because you're not considered mature enough to be able to buy cigarettes until you're 21 or to, and I think that is like the most ridiculous thing. That's just me. That's just me. And to be able to buy alcohol, there needs to be that exception. You know, that's you're sacrificing for your country. You should be rewarded. Period. End of story. Now, I will tell you this from personal experience when I was in the military down in North Carolina. I'll give you a great example of something. Okay, so they had what they called the beer truck. It was like a place that it was a truck that came in and they set up shop and on post, and you could walk up and you could buy beer, whatever you wanted, and stuff like that. So I'm standing in the line, and another soldier behind me. He says, "Hey man, can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" And I was like, what, 19, 20 years old. And at the time, it was 19 for beer and 21 for liquor in North Carolina. Okay, they hadn't made it. Everyone obviously went to 21, but at that point, it was 19 for beer. It was 21 for liquor. He said, "Would you buy me?" He wanted to buy a 12 pack, right? He goes, "Would you buy me a 12 pack of beer?" And I looked at him and I go, "Dude," I go, "you're in uniform. They're going to sell it to you." He goes, "You think so?" And I go, "Absolutely." I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll stand it aside. And if they don't, then I'll buy it for you." Because again, like I said, that to me, that was my feeling that you should be allowed to. Kid was 18. Big deal, right? So he went up, ordered his beer, got his beer, came over to me with a big old smile on his face. He's like, "Wow, man, that was cool." I said, "Dude, you're in uniform. You're in the service. They know what the deal is." And that's the reality. That's the reality. Number one, you're never going to stop underage drinking. You're never going to stop underage drinking. It's not going to happen. So, but that's just like I said. That's my opinion on that. Don't make it right. Don't make it wrong. I'm not saying it's right. Not saying it's wrong. But I have a real problem with our soldiers not being able to do something when they're expected to fight and die for our country. Okay, and again, strictly my opinion. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, there's always ways around the rules. Yeah, somebody's always got that friend that's old enough, or they got an older brother, or whatever the case may be. So Yeah, I drank more when I was underage than I have since turning 21. That's funny. Yeah, and that happens. It loses its allure. It loses its taboo. You know what I mean? But or an aunt, right? Exactly, Sonia says, or an aunt. Are you speaking, Sonia, from perhaps experience? So, but I never got carded for buying beer until the day I turned 18. Oh, that's funny. That's well, what I always thought was funny was I never, I didn't get proofed a lot when I was younger. Like I said, I could grow a full beard at a very, very young age, so I looked older, and you know, or they just didn't care, And then when they made it like I was on, I missed by like 6 months each time, so they went from 18 to 19, so 6 months before I turned 19 or 18, they made it 19, and then 6 months before I turned 19, they made it 21 in New York State. Okay, and so I was, you know, I I worked full time and went to, I only had a couple of classes my senior year of high school. So I would work in the morning, get out of work, I'd walk over to the bowling alley. There was a bowling alley there. I'd have a couple of beers there. Never got carded because everybody knew I worked at the grocery store. So they just figured that I was old enough, and so I drink a couple beers, go down, do my couple classes at school, and go back up to the bar, sit there for maybe another hour, head home. I had to be in bed by like 7 o'clock because I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning, 7, 8 o'clock, something in that range. But I got up at 3:30 and was at work at 5. So but it's like, again, it's obviously things are different now. They're definitely different now. But again, kids get fake IDs. They do that all the time. So I got carded a few months ago. They said anyone under 40 gets carded. I'm 53. Oh, I always laugh when they proof me now. I always tell them, I said, yeah, just made it. I could. What do I care? Card me all day long. The one thing I'm not like, there's certain places, guys. Now this is something that was going on in New York before I left. There was a convenience store that I would, I'd go and get gas at and stuff all the time, and I would see people buy beer there all the time, and they carded everybody. They carded everybody, but they took the card and they scanned it. All right. Well, what does that do? What does that do? What that does what that does is now it's just mark the time. Joe Blow bought a 12 pack of XYZ beer at this time. So let's say Joe Blow gets a DWI 6 hours later, you know, uh, now they know it's on record. It's there. It's recorded when they bought the beer, who it was that bought the beer, and that type of stuff. I don't like that. I do not. So I would never, ever buy it like that way. No way. So but anyway, that's like I said, that's just my own personal preference. Walmart does that. Yeah, I don't generally buy beer at Walmart. So clerks my kids' age carded me at 56. Oh yeah, like I said, I just laugh when they card me now. The day I stopped caring when they ID'd me was the day I turned 21. I never cared again after that. Obviously, I cared before then because I wanted to get the beer. So, uh, but yeah, scan the ID and they got your personal information exactly. Yep. And like I said, to me, it's like, nope, not happening. Not happening. So, anyway. But like I said, this country, and well, it's almost egg count time. So we're going to get back into that after egg count time. But we're in big trouble, folks. You may not see it. I think a lot of you that are watching these type of channels are getting it. You understand. And, so you're hopefully being proactive and you're not just listening and doing nothing. Hopefully you're being proactive and putting yourself in better situations. Now, I'll tell you this right now, be 100% honest with you. Are we ready here at the homestead for SHTF right now? Nope, not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. But as each month goes by, we are in a better position than we were the month before. And that's a fact. That's a fact. And as we continue with our journey in what we're doing in those type of things, it's going to do nothing but get better. That's it. It's going to get better. And so, to me, that's the big thing. That's the big thing. The more, as long as you're being proactive in putting yourself in that situation, you're going to be better off. So each thing that you do, and that's why, like today, I mean, it may sound not important to some people. Okay, it may, and we're going to do egg count in just a second here, guys. But I want to make this point. It may not seem important to some people, but to me, with getting these 10 trees in the ground today, okay, that's a huge, huge thing because as things progress and things get worse, we have them there. We have a food source that's going to be available to us for the long term. Now, we want a lot more, right? So as each month goes by, we're going to continue to add more, continue to grow and do and get things squared away, and that's what we're going to do. So, uh, yeah, get back to your roots. It will carry you through. And I think as Americans, we've gotten away from that. We've gotten so used to the conveniences of everything that we don't focus on the important things anymore. And it's so easy to stop and go, I'm going to get McDonald's, and just stop and get McDonald's. It's very easy to do that. But if you go, hey, you know what? We're not going to do McDonald's. We're going to go to our garden and we're going to harvest out of our garden and do that. So yes, okay, JJ. I know. I keep saying that was egg count time. How many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Thickneck. So I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses up there, and we will go from there. So I'll give you guys a moment, and we will go from there. So today was a forecast was what 40-50% chance of rain. We did get a little bit of a shower this evening. Nothing major. So happy about that. I don't hear it raining right now. So I don't know if it stopped or if it's not raining at the moment. But yeah, it's forecast for tomorrow is going to be what it's going to be. If it's raining, it's raining. If it's not raining, it's not raining. We're going to still get to work. We're still going to get things done. So all right. So if you had the same guess, and I'm not sure how to say it's Jesse, CRITRLVR, and I'm not sure what that last part is, and you can throw it in there for me. But if you had the same guess as Jesse and that last name, um, it is 7 eggs today, and yes for Miss Thick Love or Critter Love. Okay, all right, Critter Love. Okay, Jesse Critter Love. All right, I knew you told me before, and I couldn't remember. But if you had the same guess as Jesse Critterlove with 7 eggs and yes for Miss Thickneck, then you are 100% correct. And congratulations. You've won absolutely nothing except, bragging rights. So congratulations for you on that. Yeah, 50% chance tomorrow. Yeah, so I mean, we may get a shower. It doesn't look like we're going to get an all-day rain, so that would be good. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case, and that's I hope we have a good day that way. So, but did you water the trees? Well, we knew Freehawk. Good question. We knew it was going to be raining. There's more rain in the forecast for tonight. We actually got a good chance of rain overnight. So we did not, because of the fact that in the forecast there was rain in the forecast. Otherwise, we absolutely would have. If there was no rain in the forecast, we would not, or we would have watered. Okay, so but yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing with that. So I gotta check something here real quick. Give me just 1 second, folks. All right. anyhow, financially, this country, again, we can get back into this. The country's in big, big trouble. The situation with BRICS alone is scary. Scary. If all these other countries decide to work together and not use the petrodollar, it devalues our dollar, which devalues what that dollar is worth. Uh, you know, Again, what is our dollar backed by? Right? It's not backed by anything except for our military. Period. Because we've been the biggest dog on the block for so long, we have a lot of sway. We have a lot of say. I find it amazing. Let's look at this. So right now, we're over and we're like trying to cozy up once again with Venezuela. But we had all these sanctions on them and all this other stuff, trying to exert pressure on them. And now all of a sudden we're cozying up to them again. To me, and again, strictly my opinion, doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. We need to drill, drill, drill here in the United States. We have plenty of oil. There's no reason. Under our last president, we were an oil exporter. As soon as the president that we got in now we are an oil importer once again. Isn't that interesting how that works, right? But we have the technology, we have the means, we have the oil there. It's there. There's no reason. There's no reason why we should not be digging here and drilling here and getting oil here. Not a big fan of fracking, I'll be honest with you. But there are other options available, and get that pipeline building again. That's important. If so, we can take that oil down and get it refined. I think that's important. That was jobs. How many jobs? Let me ask you this, guys. Does anybody know the answer? And I think some of you may, because I don't know the exact number. How many jobs were lost? How many jobs were lost when Biden shut down the pipeline build? How many jobs got lost? And we're talking about high-paying jobs. We're not talking about, a minuscule amount. We're talking about high-paying jobs. Somebody says 50,000. Somebody else says 65. Somebody's saying 30,000. Somebody's saying 11. So somebody else is saying 50. It was a lot of jobs. There's a lot of jobs. Everybody's coming up with a different answer. JJ's saying 150. 300,000 direct and indirect. Okay, Luke, that actually would make sense. I'm going to tell you, and this again, strictly my opinion. I'm going to put it out there because that's what I do. When after with the Great Depression, what did they do? They put people to work in the United States, made our beautiful parks that we have, right? Put people to work, gave them a job, gave them self-worth, self-respect. And what did they do with that money? What did they do with that money, right? The collateral damages are the towns in the way. There's always going to be collateral damage, Joe. There's always going to be collateral damage, no matter what. So, as long as people are compensated decently for their property, you can always move. You can always move. So let's say the pipeline needed to go right through the center of my property. As long as they gave me top dollar for my land, I can buy another piece of property and I can do it all over again. Simple as that. I don't think they would here. You know what I mean? Well, I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I don't see that happening here. But again, but he put Americans to work. That's what we need to do again. We could absolutely do so much to make our country better. I'm not getting any younger. No, I understand that. I understand it. Well, I was already told I was too old to start over again down here. You guys remember that one? Oh, you're too old to start all over again. Well, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. But, those welders in pipeline were making $100 an hour. Yeah, exactly. And where were they spending their money, Freehawk? Right? They were spending that money in America. They were spending it here. So if we put people back to work, we could, so what jobs could be available? Let's think about it. Real simple. We have so many waterways that need to be revamped and redone. They're old, outdated, need to be taken care of. The electrical grid. How many times have I said this? We need to harden our electrical grid. How many people could we put to work that way? A whole lot of people. Instead of sending billions and billions of dollars over to Ukraine to be done with whatever they're doing with it, right? And who knows? We don't know where that money's going. There's, is there an accounting? Do we have an exact number of how that money was spent? Right? You know, uh, we put people to work. They will work. They will spend their money here at home, and that's what we need to be doing. Bridges, dams, you know, like I said again, waterways, our electrical grid. Why not? Why, you know? It, here's another thought. We could grow so much ridiculous amounts of food in this country, ridiculous amounts of food, but we don't. Why? Why are we letting big corporations do these monopolies and have these huge farms, and you know they're dictating where that money goes and what it's being done? Where would we get the money to put people back to work? It's important to pay for the illegals. Right, exactly. I hear you, Joe, and I know you're being sarcastic saying that. Again, we need to take care of Americans. Americans need to come first, especially, in my opinion, again, and I will say this again, our homeless vets that have problems, they should be at the top of the list, and I don't care what anybody says. Uh, they need to be at the top of the list, especially our combat veterans. They absolutely need to be at the top of the list to be taken care of by hopefully a grateful country, right? And not thrown away like they're trash when they're done. So, at Gen Z doesn't want to work, that would mean leaving their parents' basement. Yeah, well, you know what? Not all of them. Not all of them, Frank. There are some good kids out there. There's some hardworking kids out there. Um, Absolutely, there are. Now, unfortunately, a large percentage of them are exactly what you're saying. They don't want to work. But I'll tell you what, if you are in a situation where, you work or you don't eat, it's going to change your perspective of stuff. And when the free handouts for everybody and their brother gets cut off, you know, we need people to not, we need people to not be so dependent on the system. Because the more people that are dependent on the system, they don't want things to change. They like it just the way it is. They get their check every month. They get their free this, their free that, their free health care, their free dental, um, and they're perfectly content with that. And then they do whatever side hustle that they do to make extra money, you know, and that happens all the time, happens all the time. A democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what to have for supper. Yeah, exactly. But again, I truly believe we need to take care of our own. We need to close up our borders. We need to bring our troops back home. We need to make sure America is secure, make sure that America is safe, you know, tackle our drug issues, our drug problems, tackle our, and I love this too because I wanted to mention this, and I was talking about, yeah, well, it could be that, Joe. Um, I was talking about this the other day, and all these mass shootings that we've had recently, right? And I talked about that a lot of it is a mental health issue, that it's not a gun issue, it's a mental health issue. And I, had a few people say, "Oh, well, no, 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 that's not the case." I'm really curious, really, really curious, and I don't know the answers to this, so I can't say, "Well, here's the answers," and I know what the answers are. I wonder how many of these shooters, right? And actually, somebody made a really good point. I do want to bring this up. I want to bring this up because I think that this is important. Um, but I wonder how many of these mass shooters are on some kind of drug from the drug industry, antidepressants, whatever the case may be, whatever they're on. I would almost guess that a lot of them are on some kind of medication, right? Now, here's a point that somebody made. And I would love to be able to give the guy credit because he made a great point. But it was somebody that sent me this link to this channel, and what he was saying was The reason we're having these issues with a lot of these mass shootings by younger people, these kids today are too coddled. They're not prepared to deal with the real world. And the real world, once you get out in the real world, is going to chew you up and spit you out. There is no participation trophies in the real world. You don't get everything handed to you for nothing in the real world. So a lot of these kids, when they have disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, what he was saying, with his point that he was making, was they get frustrated because everything is not perfect like they were told it was going to be. And so that's when they snap and they do these terrible things. Now, I think that could be a factor in it. I do, you know, but you know, but the reality is this: life can suck, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you live long enough, and you're going to deal with some suck in life. Okay, that's a fact. That is a fact. But it's also life is also what you make it. It's also what you make it, and it can be a good experience or it can be a miserable experience, and it's your choice. And I truly believe that that's the case as well. When you fail, you need to get up, dust yourself off, and go, okay, that sucked and that wasn't any fun, but I'm gonna succeed next time. And you may fail 5, 6 times, but eventually, if you keep at it and you keep determined and you keep working towards your goals, they're gonna happen. That to me is also a fact. You know, I've always loved it when people have told me through the years, and anybody that's watched this channel knows that I've had how many times I've been told, "Oh, you can't do that. That's never going to work. You're never going to get that done. That's not going to work." But every time somebody has said that to me, I've always had the same answer, and the same answer has always been, "Watch me, because I'm going to make it happen. It's going to work." Now, it may not be in the time frame that I hoped it would be, right? Because guess what? That's part of life, right? That's part of life. But it's going to happen. It's just like the bunker. Do I wish I was a lot farther along with bunker? Absolutely, I wish I was. But you know what? It'll get there. Because we're going to work at it. We're going to get it done, and it's going to happen. End of story. And for all the doubters and everybody who says it's not going to work, whatever, stuff like that, again, just keep watching and you'll see. You know what I mean? And that's the way I believe it's going to be. So, all right. Now that I've been flapping away once again, we are going to do some shout outs. So we're going to start out with Icky Can up in Canada. Really good guy. I would ask you to please support him. He's been living off grid. It's like 1 year less than me. So I'm on my 9th year, and I think he's been doing it for 8 years now. Angry Prepper with Jason down in New York City, another really good guy. You have Alaska Prepper, and that's Rudy up in Alaska doing his thing up there. Definitely a solid guy as well. You also have Alaska Granny. There is Sean James with the Sean James channel, and he also has My Self Reliance. 2 different channels, same guy. Unbelievable, awesome builder up in Canada, building his homestead up there. Just really, really skilled and fun to watch. You have Demcad. He's been around for a long time too. Really good guy as well. There is Corporal's Corner. You have Bjorn Hansen. There is 80K Man up in the Adirondacks in New York. You have Bizarriza Jizza, who does the Carrington Chronicles. Another really good channel. Really interesting story. And a lot of truths in what he does with his story. So definitely check that out. You have Marfugal News with Adam and Dax out on the West Coast. Really good guys as well. I've been on his show a few times. So definitely think you should support him as well. You have Magic Prepper. He is in North Dakota. There is Wranglestar. That's Cody. He's been around a long time. Great channel. A lot of good information on his channel. Red Poppy Ranch. There is Survival Lily. You have Kyle's Cabin. Kyle and Sierra up in Minnesota doing their thing up there, living off grid. Fun to watch them. Nice young couple. There is Bush Radical and Girl in the Woods. Husband-wife team, 2 different channels. They split their time between Michigan and Alaska, and really good people. A lot of good information. Definitely people you should pay attention to. There is Green Greg's. A lot of great gardening advice with Green Greg, so definitely check that out as well. You have Southern Prepper 1. He does his Boots on the Ground series, and he's been prepping for a long time, and really squared away guy as well. You have Gray Man Prepping. You have St. Bernard Acres. Well, formerly known as St. Bernard Acres, we are now not calling it St. Bernard Acres anymore. It is now Beagle Acres. So definitely go check out Joe at Beagle Acres. You have Doug and Stacy. Yes, I'm an a-hole. Okay, I can't help it. It's just who I am. You have Doug and Stacy. They've been around a long time too. Really good people. Definitely check them out as well. You have the nomadic movement. They're down in Panama. Nice young couple down there. Just had a child. Actually, the little girl's up walking around, all kinds of stuff already. It's crazy how fast time goes. The Green Dream Project out in Arizona, showing you how to live in the desert and do that type of thing. Really, really interesting to watch them as well. You have Camping with Steve. That is Steve Wallace. Up in Canada, does stealth camping. A lot of fun to watch him. Really laid back guy. Very nice. Nice escape from reality. So definitely check him out. Bush Doctor Survival. There is Monkey Works. You have the Needy Homesteader. She's been around a long time. Really good channel. She's had her own bouts of dealing with adversity, as we all know, anybody that knows the channel. Boss of the Swamp. He's been around a long time as well. Unbelievable to watch him build, and it's really cool what he does. And so I definitely recommend him as well. You have Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Diamond's a good guy, very, very intelligent. Give you all the information about the Grand Solar Minimum if you're willing to listen. So definitely check him out as well. You have Patera with the Appalachian Homestead. There is City Prepper. You have Lumina Acres. There is Suspicious Observer. Really good channel. A lot of cool stuff with that one. Definitely a fun watch. There is Bear Independent. You have the Uneducated Economist. There is Bushcraft Bear. He is in the Canary Islands of La Palma. Fun guy, really down to earth. I like him a lot, so I definitely recommend him. You have Mary Greeley News. She's very passionate about Yellowstone, keeping you updated on earthquakes and what's happening out there. So definitely check out her channel as well. There is Adapt 2030. You have Malachi's Corner. There is Ice Age Farmer. If you're going to get your weather, there's only one guy you should be getting your weather from, and that is Ryan Hall Y'all. Ryan Hall's a good guy, gives back to the community in a huge way. Anybody that watches him knows. Very passionate about the weather, so I would highly recommend supporting his channel. You have Russell Brand. I like Russell Brand. Russell Brand gives you the information, lets you decide what you want to do with it. He doesn't tell you what to think. He gives you the information and lets you make your own assessment of it, and I like that. So that's why I always recommend him. You have Deep South Homestead, another very down-to-earth channel. Definitely should be supporting them as well. You have The Outsider. He is up in Maine, I believe, and real good channel. Watching him build and working with his dad until his dad passed, and just doing a great job on the build that he was doing there. You have The Fit Farmer. There is Prep Rebel. You have Simple Life Reclaimed. There is Townsend's. That's one you should be watching, because if we ever go back and have a grid down situation and the power don't come back on, we're back in the 1800s, folks. So Townsend's, a lot of good information with that. You have The Prepared Mind. There is Pinball Preparedness down in Tennessee. Really good channel, really good guy. You have East Tennessee Preparedness, The Economic Ninja. And last but not least, Little House Off Gritty. A lot of good information, and they're also in Tennessee. And so, a lot of good things out there, a lot of good information. We should be absolutely supporting each other. There's a lot of different channels with different perspectives of things, and I think that's why it's important that we should be looking at different things. Thanks, Ed. I'm at my off-grid spot now, and somehow I have 2 bars tonight. Well, good. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're able to tune in. So, but like I said, guys, we got to come together. We got to work together. The more that we can do that, the more that we can educate ourselves, the more that we can gather information, learning new skills. Just like I said, like getting bees, okay? I just looking at the situation, I realized how important that was. And so that's why we got bees. And so we will continue to learn. We will continue to grow with that. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's a very cool thing. And to have that relationship with those creatures. And that's outside my comfort zone. I never, in my million years, if you had said to me, hey, Ed, one day you're going to be a beekeeper, I'd have been like, yeah, right, okay. But, looking at the situation is being able to collect my own honey down the road, and learning that skill and being able to hopefully, continue to grow it. And when SHTF happens with splitting the hives and doing all those type of things, I think it's important to be able to put yourself in a situation, again, not only to survive, but to thrive. And being able to have your own honey in an SHTF situation that is a renewable resource year after year, that's just a smart play, in my opinion. So, but again, make yourself viable, make yourself more valuable alive than you would be dead. And if you do that, you're going to be in a lot better shape. You really will. So, all right, let's do this right now. We are Legion because we are many. We are all over the country. We're all over the world. Where is everybody from tonight? Vancouver Island, BC, Canada. We have Dayton, Ohio, Franklin County, Ohio. We have Philip in Melbourne, Australia. Good day, Philip. Glad to have you here. We have also Clyde in Inverness, Florida in the house. Say hello to your lovely wife for me. We have Bay of Islands, Newfoundland, Canada. BC, Canada with Emil, Okie Forge in Nowhere, Oklahoma. Janet is also in BC, Canada. Dawn up in the UP of Michigan. Tucson, Arizona with Angela. East Central Illinois with Lana. Mud Creek, Ohio with John. Leesburg, Florida with Joan. Finleyville, Pennsylvania with Susie. Northwest Arkansas with Miss Sunshine. The beautiful Pennsylvania Wilds with Pennsyltucky Granny. Union City, Pennsylvania with Richard. The Mojave Desert in Southern California with Dave. Greenlee County, Arizona with Codster. Charlotte County, Florida with Gloria. We have Belgium in the house. Glad to have you here. Thank you for coming tonight. Northern Texas with Beads and Beans. I like that. Holland, Michigan with Hope. How you doing tonight, Hope? Glad you joined us. We have Nebraska with Sean. There's Virginia's in the house with Jesse Critter Lover. Western New York with Karen. Northwest Indiana. Brian in Bath of the UK. Glad to have you here, Brian. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for staying up late. Waterloo, New York with Sharon. We have Michigan in the house. Troutman, North Carolina with Troy. Missouri with Brad. Campbell, Missouri with Antonio. We have Western North Carolina with Christina. West Central Ohio with Dale. Pisgah, Ohio with Stu, and I'm not sure if I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Hollywood, Florida with Donna. Northwest Pennsylvania with Mountain Man. We got New Hampshire in the house with Brenda. Cape Cod, Massachusetts in the house. East Pennsylvania with Kathy. Switzerland heading to bed 3:10 a.m. Bruno, thank you for joining us and thank you for staying up late with us. We appreciate that. Oklahoma in the house with Kathy. We have west coast of Florida with Kit. California in the house. So again, guys, we truly are all over the country. We're all over the world. We're a huge network of people. We're a huge family, hello from Scotland with Carol. Glad to have you here, Carol. We're a huge family. We really, truly are. If we can come together again as human beings, there would be no stopping us. No stopping us. And I think we should try, I think we should definitely try. So, excuse me, I think it's important. I'm excited for this weekend, guys. Just with what we got done today was exciting. To me, it was. I mean, it may not be exciting to some people, but to me, it is absolutely exciting. What we get done tomorrow, with whatever we get accomplished, will be more forward progress, and that's what we're going to make happen. And it's a group of strangers coming together, creating a family, starting our own type of family, and it's, to me, it's amazing. It really, really is. And it shows that it can be done. And I think that that's important, because I know a lot of people always, I've had a lot of people say, never going to work, never going to happen, but it has, and it continues to happen. And I think that it is amazing. I've been very, very fortunate to surround myself with a lot of really good people. And I want you guys to know something. We're not a bunch of yes men and yes women. We bounce ideas off each other. What do you think? What do you think? How should we do this? What should we do? Uh, you know, Trying to figure out, prioritize what's important, and all those type of stuff. And so that's what we're doing, and it's been amazing. I'm excited to see where this journey takes us and see what we can get done. And given enough time. And I was talking to a prospective new member the other day, and I'll tell you what I said. If we get 2 years, this place will be amazing. 2 years from now, this place will be amazing. And he goes, I think you're being overly optimistic. And I said, I agree. I agree. That is being overly optimistic. But I can hope, you know what I mean? I can hope that we have 2 years. And if we get 2 years, or if we get 3 years, fantastic. Whatever amount of time we get, we will continue to strive to do what, putting ourselves in the best possible position to survive a long-term event, and that's the goal. That's the goal. And the other thing would possibly be is that we come together, we work on things, nothing ever happens, and we have a wonderful place where I can get together with great friends, you know, with great friends, and spend time together and enjoy each other's company. And I think that that's important too. Surrounding yourself with good people, I think, is really, really important. So, anyway, I want to thank my moderators who do an absolutely fantastic job keeping the chat clean. So, ladies and gentlemen that moderate for me, thank you very much for what you do. It means a lot to me. It really, truly does, and it's very much appreciated. I want to thank all of you guys for being here, supporting the channel, and being part of our journey, and watching our journey, and watching what we're doing. I think it's really, really appreciated. And, there's, like I said, it's a lot going on. It's going to be a busy weekend. I'm going to do a lot of video, I hope, and share it with you, and we'll go from there. So, anyway, guys, remember, we truly are all in this together. We are one race called the human race. If we could ever figure it out, we would be in so much better shape. We have to stop letting them divide us. We need to come together. They use race, religion, political affiliation. Those are the main three tools that are used to keep us fighting amongst each other, which mean nothing. It means nothing. If we can come together and do what we need to do, we're going to be just fine. All right? Also, remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really, really important to tell the people that we care about every single day how we feel. Last but not least, STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only person that's going to stop you from achieving your goals is you. That's it. Nobody else. If you stay positive, stay away from the negativity, you're going to be just fine. All right? Set realistic goals, and then set about to making them happen. That's all you got to do. What are we at? 279. I don't know. Could we get 21 more thumbs up here? We got like a minute. Let's see if we can. Let's see how close to 300 we can get. I should have done it before this, but what are you going to do? So if you have not shot up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do that. Show support for the channel again. Thank you. Let's see how close to 300 we can get before we jump off here. Also, again, it makes a big, big difference with the algorithms as well. So I thank you for that reason. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. The other day, I saw an Amish-looking guy on a horse. I said, "Are you a horse doctor?" He said, "No, I'm a mechanic." Oh my God, that's funny. You're too funny. What are we at? 289. 11 more, guys. 11 more thumbs up here. Let's see. We'll hang out for a minute. But again, I want to encourage you, keep prepping. keep getting ready. Take care of the things that you need to take care of, and I think you're going to be just fine. Um, like I said, I don't make predictions. I don't know how much time we have left, and I'm not going to say, "Oh, we have this much time," or "This is what we got to do." I'm just going to continue to work towards doing what we can do. What do we got? 7 more to go. We're at 293. We need 7 more, guys. 7 more thumbs up. But just keep taking care of what you can take care of. Control what you can control, and you're going to be fine. All right. Still at 293. We got 7 more, guys. 7 more thumbs up. I don't know if we're going to get there. 2 more to go now. 2 more or 5 more. So we're at 295. So we need 5 more. I'm going to get another drink in the meantime. Well, that's much closer than I thought we would get. So we're at 295. So anyway, guys, 296 now. Very cool. So anyway, be safe. Control what you can control. Keep prepping. Take care of your families. Put yourself in the very best position to survive. And not even just survive, but you want to thrive. All right? I'm excited about this weekend. Like I said, I'm going to try to get a lot of video in, and we will go from there. All right? I will talk to you all later. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.